From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Friday, June the 7th, 2019. The IDF successfully prevented dangerous materials from being smuggled into Gaza in an incident that took place last month but only was cleared for publication today. The IDF said 2 boats tried to breach the maritime blockade on Gaza in order to reach Egypt on May the 11th. Once in Egypt, they were to pick up 24 drums of fiberglass material that presumably would be used to make rockets. The vessels were intercepted in a high-speed chase on the waters off Gaza by Israeli forces, and 4 suspects were arrested. Israel police are investigating a stabbing in Jerusalem today. A man in his 50s was waiting at a bus stop in the city center when he was stabbed by a foreign national in his 60s who fled the scene but was soon apprehended by police. The victim suffered light injuries, and the motive at this time remains unclear. A bipartisan bill funding economic development for the Palestinians and peace-building efforts between the Palestinians and Israel was introduced this week. The Partnership Fund for Peace Act of 2019 was announced Wednesday by New York Democrat Nita Lowey, New York Senator Chris Coons, as well as Republican South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham, Virginia Democratic Senator Tim Kaine, Colorado Republican Senator Cory Gardner, and Nebraska Republican Representative Jeff Fortenberry. It promotes economic cooperation between Palestinian entrepreneurs and businesses with Israel and the United States, as well as dialogue and reconciliation between Israelis and Palestinians. Pro-Israel lobby AIPAC urges support for the bill on its website, writing that it seeks to bring together Israeli, Palestinian, and American civil societies and business communities. Support was also seen from the Jewish Federations of North America, who wrote that they encourage Jewish-Arab cooperative educational programs as a necessary foundation for peace between the Israelis and Palestinians. The resolution, by the way, also has the support of several groups who are often at odds with mainstream Jewish and pro-Israel organizations, among them J Street and Americans for Peace Now, although they do have certain stipulations. Yesterday, 5 Democratic senators introduced a resolution against any Israeli plan to annex parts of the West Bank. If you recall, back in April, just before Israel's elections, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he would extend sovereignty, presumably to some or all of Jewish settlements in the West Bank, if he were elected. The legislation, introduced by Democratic Senators Jeff Merkley of Washington, Dick Durbin of Illinois, Bernie Sanders of Vermont, Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts, Tammy Duckworth of Illinois, and Dianne Feinstein of California, states that unilateral annexation of portions of the West Bank would jeopardize prospects for a 2-state solution, harm Israel's relationship with its Arab neighbors, threaten Israel's Jewish and democratic identity, and undermine Israel's security. Well, Jewish organizations are up in arms over a ban from the Washington, D.C. Dyke March, a gay rights demonstration, which is saying they are banning Israeli flags and, quote, related national symbols, apparently including Jewish pride flags with the Star of David, for their march today in the Capitol. The Advocate reports that a woman asked organizers of the march if she would be welcome to carry the rainbow flag with the Jewish star on it. March organizer Yael Horowitz, who is Jewish, told the Washington Post the event would ban that flag, along with all, quote, nationalist symbols, including those representing, quote, nations that have specific oppressive tendencies. She said other items with Jewish symbols would be welcome. It should be noted that Palestinian flags are welcome at the march today. CEO of the Anti-Defamation League, Jonathan Greenblatt, wrote, banning the Star of David in their parade is anti-Semitic, plain and simple. Jewish, LGBTQ, and other organizations, including A Wider Bridge and Zionists, together with the Jewish Community Relations Council of Greater Washington and the Jewish Democratic Council of America, said the ban undermines the march's intended purpose of inclusivity. B'nai B'rith International said, we call on the march's organizers to apologize to the Jewish community and allow Jewish protesters to participate without forcing them to choose between their LGBTQ and Jewish identities. At a time when anti-Semitism is on the rise, they said it is unacceptable for a supposedly progressive protest to further marginalize its Jewish participants. Well, some Yiddish and some Hebrew made it into the Scripps National Spelling Bee this year. Kveller reports that when the first rounds of the finals in Washington kicked off last week, contestant number 5, Rishik Gandshari from San Jose, California, was given the word Yiddishkeit. When he asked what the language of origin of the word was, he was told Yiddish, to which he laughed and said, "I don't know what I expected." Gandshari was successful in spelling the Yiddish word as well as a Hebrew word he was given later, kri'ah, the Jewish mourning practice of tearing one's clothing. The 7th grader was named one of 8 champions, a first for the competition. Well, the Jewish holiday of Shavuot begins Saturday night. The Harvest Festival also commemorates the giving of the Torah on Mount Sinai. We will have live Shavuot services for you from Central Synagogue at 6 p.m. Eastern on Saturday night, as well as services Sunday and Monday mornings at 9:30. Looking now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Friday, June the 7th, live Kabbalat Shabbat services are coming up at 7 from the Hampton Synagogue, followed by Shabbat services from Central Synagogue. Then it's the film Israel Indivisible at 9, followed by Musica with Peter Roth at 10:30. Coming up after this newscast, it's a discussion on God and Torah, followed by a look at this week's Torah portion. And that's the JBS News Update for Friday, June the 7th, 2019. I'm Teisha Bader. Shabbat Shalom.